Hello, friends. I'm in the car again. I am headed to our rehearsal for our worship night. And then the ladies are coming to my house and we're going to pray over my home, room by room, because it needs it. And I think that's a healthy habit to get into anyway. We had it done in the last home that we lived in years ago when my kids were actually little. Well, yeah, much smaller. So I was kind of blindsided yesterday. We got some news, and I don't know how I don't know how I feel about it. Obviously, it's not about me. However, my husband and I are the caretakers, so we had our first home visit with our new placement's caseworker. Wonderful human being, by the way. He's amazing. So we're talking, and I was just kind of picking his brain about some things. And so he dropped a bomb on us, but he was just being honest, which I completely appreciate. He was being honest, open, and transparent, and keeping us in the loop as he should, which not every caseworker will be that forthcoming. So we just got these kids a week ago last night, so they've been with us just over a week. And that vlog is coming out of us getting them and everything. It's been going really well. Just a few hiccups and sicknesses. The flu bug or the stomach bug hit our home last weekend. So anyway, he said a relative has surfaced, and I won't get into how they're related. I'm trying to see if my heat is on my feet. They surfaced 2 days ago, I think, and they are interested in taking the kiddos, which would be called kinship care. So kinship care is like when a family member comes forward and takes care of the children. Our caseworker said by all accounts, they appear to be a solid option. There's quite a few steps that need to happen before they would get them. Excuse me. So I was like, my brain was like, whoa, what? And he said at minimum it would be a month that it would take to get all that stuff done. If they did it, consistently. Maximum, I have no idea. I didn't ask him that. So I was like, whoa. And I've had a plethora of emotions since then. Not even emotions, just thoughts, feelings. I wouldn't say emotions, just feelings and thoughts. That's never happened to us before. So, and again, I say that not because it's about us. I'm just saying, in our experience as foster care parents, we've never had a family member step up right after we got a placement and say, hey, I want them. They've never met. So I don't know. I'm trying to be careful what I say, but there are a lot of needs these children have. So I shared a long text message with their caseworker this morning, just sharing my heart. And one thing about me, especially as a foster mom, I am probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest, advocates that these children will ever have. I advocate until some agencies would probably deem it that's inappropriate. You crossed the line. And the caseworker yesterday, he's like, God forbid you care. How is that inappropriate? And I'm like, I don't know. But I advocate fiercely for these kids. And it's not, and I try to be humble and I try to say I don't know everything, obviously. But when you are caring for a child 24/7, you get to know these children very, very well. And sometimes, most times, better than their own biological parents. Okay? Yes, I said it. And I mean it. With that also being said, I know blood relatives in some cases are best because you want to keep them in the family, you know, and if they're capable and willing and ready and loving and great, everything he told us yesterday, they sound like great people, and I offered to, hey, let's meet them. Let them meet as long as that's okay with you. He's like, absolutely. They've done enough checking that they're decent, they're appropriate, and they're safe. So he's like, obviously, if a red flag pops up, then we'll go from there. But he was like, that'd be great, because they live about an hour from us. So I said we could meet for dinner. They could play with their kids or whatever, whatever happens. So they might be leaving. And I'm kind of sad about that. And I'm sad about that because they're sweet kiddos and they're great kiddos, and I wanted to be part of their journey and watching them, grow and excel and all the things. And they might not be leaving. So I'm trying to read my maps because I need my directions. I've been praying about it, and I've told the Lord, not my will, not our will, but your will be done. You know what is best for these kids, and if this is a viable option and you want it to go forward, I know that you will open those doors. If it's not, I know that you will close those doors. I would rather know sooner than later because of how my brain works. And I asked their caseworker yesterday, I said, so what do we do because we just started trying to find a preschool for little man, and he's going to be screened at 1 next week, and my phone has been blowing up with referrals for little miss, and he's like, I'm like, what do I do? Do I stop all that? He's like, no, you continue. You go forward. You go forward as though nothing's changing. You know what I mean? So, and it might not. And so after, he sent me a really, really nice reply today. And, he was even like, in so many words, if it is a fit and they do move forward and they want to slow the process and just, slowly, gradually go into it, he's all for that. It doesn't have to be a rushed process. Because I was like, I'd like to see her through some of these things. I'd like him to be able to go to preschool. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I don't want to just jump the gun and worry. So I'm trying, every time it comes up in my brain, I try to just lay it back down. It's not mine, it's yours, Lord. You know what is around the bend. You see the big picture. God sees the big picture. We do not. We see this little bit of information and whatever. So that shocked me last night or yesterday afternoon, and I've just been thinking about it, and it's like, I was like, Lord, I want to do the best by them no matter how long or short they are in my care. And I'm also what breaks my heart is Mr. because he's already gotten so attached, and I just know, that is part of foster care. Your children get attached to the children that come in most of the time, not always. And he will be very, very, very heartbroken. But again, I know that's part of life. I know. So, am I supposed to get off here? Yep, I am. So, that's the update. That is part of foster care. And I've heard stories where people have literally shared this with me. You know, one particular family went and got a baby from the hospital. Were told the baby was going to be there long term. I think within 3 days, they had found a family member had come forward. And they had to pack this baby up. And I mean, she was heartbroken. So, you know, I've heard of it happening. It's just, that was never even on my radar. It wasn't even in my brain that could happen. Because obviously, they've been in care for a month and a half, almost 2 months. So I would have thought if a family member was an option, that would have happened. However, maybe this family member just found out about it. You know, I don't know. So this is a true test of putting your faith in action. And faith is the substance of things you cannot see and or know, or you know what I mean? And that's hard. If you say you have faith, sometimes God's going to ask you to walk that faith. Walk it out and trust Him, like step by step, day by day. So right now, what I'm feeling Him saying to me is take one day at a time. And that's what I'm going to do. Take one day at a time. And I'm going to make the most of that day. So that when and if they leave, and whenever that is, you know, I can at least, you know, hold my head high and say I did right by these kids. We did right by these kids, you know, and we loved them well. And that's what we are called to do. I knew they weren't mine. And that always runs through my mind. They were never yours. They were never yours. Because our last placement, that was tough. As I've said in another vlog, we knew that one was leaving. We did not know that all three were leaving right then. And I was especially extremely bonded with one of them. And that was tough. And that still hurts. But he was never mine. They were never mine. And I love them. I love them like they are. I want to always treat them like they are because they deserve that. But you're just caring for someone else's children. You're a stepping stone. And that's the first thing Matt said was maybe we're just a stepping stone in this process, you know? And, you know, we need to be thankful that the Lord allowed us to be part of the process and make the most of it and be a blessing to their parents, their older sibling that is not with them. So we want to take them to go see him, you know, and yeah. Foster care is an absolute roller coaster. It just is. It's this all the time. But it grows you. I really wanted iced coffee, but it's lukewarm coffee because I should have made it this morning and let it get cold in the fridge. My iced coffee, I'm totally this is a rabbit trail, I confess. But anyway, I have to finish it now. Then it's Nest Cafe or something like that. The instant iced coffee powder that I normally use. There's this other one that's, I feel like, better on my stomach. And that's why I chose it. But I knew it would be hot. And typically, if I know that I want iced coffee that day, I'll stick it in the fridge and let it get cold and then add all the ice. But it's okay. I'm thankful for it. P.S. Someone has used almost all of my zero sugar birthday cake creamer. What? Literally. I have like that much left, like enough for one more serving of something. So, because I don't use my creamer all the time, but I like it when it's there, you know, especially iced coffee, that always has to have a non-sugar flavored creamer for me. Period, point blank, end of story. But anyway, kids, I'll wrap this up. and say, welcome to the journey. The kids might be leaving. I don't know. At least that we know of another month. And we'll make the most of it. So I hope you have a blessed day. I am going to, not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna forget, but I'll try to get some footage of us rehearsing. But I want to go on live today, Facebook, and talk to the people, invite them to our worship night, and give them a taste of what they're going to experience. So, if I don't get any clips, we will see you in the next vlog. If you have not subscribed, to the 8 people that watch my videos, thank you. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. You know, there may be one that is just what you needed to hear or what you needed to see. You just never know. And I'm going to keep talking as though I'm talking to many. I'm probably not, but someone out there enjoys our content. I just know it. I just know it. All right. Have a blessed day, and we will see you in the next vlog.